Alrighty. Alright. Hello, everybody. This is Megan with Real Talk for Real Moms, and we are actually having a really fun, like, Inception style Real Talk this week because it's Megan and Megan.
It's confusing.
Yeah, so we'll have fun talking mothering with the two Megans, I guess. Although hers is spelled different. Hers doesn't have my creepy little A added in there. My mom felt the need to make it extra. Alright, so let's start it easy. How many kids do you have?
So I have 5 kids total. I have 1 bonus son and then 4 that I birthed. But, bonus children are our children too.
Definitely.
But being a step-parent, that's a whole nother subject, so say that for a rainy day.
We'll make it back there.
Yeah.
Alright, what is the funniest thing that each child's ever done?
Oh, gosh. So having boys, period, there's always something funny going on. I'll give you an example with my oldest two. When my 7 and 8-year-old were 10 months and like a year and a half or whatever, like that age, because they were really close in age. I was potty training like the 1.5-year-old. He was almost 2. And he went into the playroom and pooped in the corner. And at that stage, it was hard and they looked like milk duds. Well, the 10-month-old was walking, so he went in the playroom with brother. I didn't know he was, using the bathroom in the corner at the time. I think I was like cooking or something. And of course, he comes out with poop in his hands that he's saying, "Oh, candy, candy,"
Oh, no.
I was like, "Oh my God, no!" I was like, "Just leave it." And I tried to like look, and then I was like, "Oh my God!" So then I called the pediatrician and of course asked if it was okay or if I needed to take him to the hospital. Or it was fine. It was human, so she said it was fine.
So there you go, moms. If your kid eats their feces or siblings' feces, then you're safe. You're good. It's human.
They're the most disturbing things I've learned as a mother. And then, with 4 kids, there's always just so much, but the baby, he's only 1, so he really doesn't do, many things yet, but I guess at his age and his stage being a year, 15 months, he will get stuff and, like, try to run from you, and, like, watching him try to run while he thinks you're chasing him, he is, like, cracking up and trying to keep his balance, and, like, that's sorry, this motion thing keeps going off. And then my 5-year-old, he's always doing funny stuff, but I think it's, he had these like little googly eyes one time. They were like this big, like the kind you glue on papers or whatever. And I was in the hospital, I think, for something. And my husband had sent a picture of him because he put them in his eyes and like closed his eyes with them in his eyes, and he had it in his eyes, and he was just doing all this stuff, and it was funny.
See, my friend Meg, not Megan, but Meg, her kids googly-eyed everything in the house, like the fruit, all the different things. So she would just randomly, and then the other one was little hobbits. They printed out a bunch of tiny hobbits and hid them everywhere. She's still finding hobbits, and it's been like a year later.
Oh, wow.
You've got a kiddo asking you something, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I told you I'll do it in just a second, okay? Be a good boy. Go wait just a second, okay? And I'm not going to let you watch your show. Go.
The beauty of an editor, right?
Yeah.
All right. What would you say was the biggest surprise to you about being a mom at the beginning?
I think it's just the expectations that you have of motherhood, what society paints as a picture, what the parenting books paint as a picture, how your labor and delivery is supposed to go, how pregnancy is supposed to go. And I think it was all a lie to me because with my first one, he was born in respiratory distress, so he was like whisked away, taken to the NICU. I mean, he fought for his life, and like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like that was like one of the huge things of being a first-time mom, that you're like, nothing warned me, nothing told me this could happen. And that was one of the hardest things about being a first-time mom and experiencing that. But of course, then again, it gives you thick skin, so when you have the rest of them, I'm prepared. Like, I know how to handle it, and yeah.
Okay, so what about, would you say, what was the biggest surprise for you stepping into the role as a stepmom?
That was hard, because my stepson is older than my children, so when I came into his life, he was 4, about to turn 5, and I had just had my first son. And, like, I had been around other kids before, but, like, first of all, I was new to being a mom, so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be a mom to him, but I didn't want to step on his not his toes, but on his mom's toes and, like, disrespect there. So I think the hardest thing about jumping into being a stepmom, especially when I just became a mom, was finding that balance to where I didn't step across any kind of, like, boundaries and make people uncomfortable or seem like I was trying to, push myself into that mom role for him and make him do things, that he didn't want to do or, make her mad and, like, thinking I was trying to do too much, I guess.
No, that makes sense. I wanted to ask you because I can't speak to that stage of life because I haven't lived it, and I feel like people watching this who are new to the stepmom life are going to be, how do I do this? This is not what I expected, and I can't do it.
No, it's not. It's very hard because you have your own ways that you parent your children, and then you have your stepchild who is in a split parent, environment. And, so if he lives with whichever parent he lives with, the main parent, that's, the environment they're being raised in and the things that they're being taught is there. And it may be completely different from what you do with your kids. And that is hard because then when they do come to your house, and it depends on also how frequently, I struggle with that word lately, how frequently they come over, they don't, coming to your house for the weekend may not, or they may understand and just go with the flow. But if they're only coming over once a month or once every few months, depending on, the living situation and how far the distance is or whatever, sometimes it just gets awkward because you just don't know what to do and you're just like, all right, just do what you want.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I don't want to say your other children, but with all of your children, that's probably a better way to word it. With all of your children, would you say that the things that you learned or the things that really stood out to you changed as they got older? Like, as your children are much older, you have some in school now, you have older children, do you feel like the things that you've experienced and learned are different? Or the things that shocked you, maybe, or surprised you?
I mean, everything is just, I guess, like, with each stage of life that we get to, with the oldest one, everything is just a shock for you. And I think that, there are things that are typically, to be expected. But then there's those other things that, you have the way that when you were in school or whatever. But then now you're the parent, and now you're experiencing the different side of it. And I think now, like, the difference between my generation and my kids' generation is, like, school shootings. We didn't have that when we were kids. So, and, like, cell phones weren't around and stuff. So, like, my 8-year-old asked me for a cell phone the other day because he wanted to be able to call the police if there was somebody shooting at their campus. So that was like, okay. Wasn't prepared for that. There wasn't nothing, there's so many things, and I feel like you can never be prepared when you're a parent for the situation, because it literally, like, every expectation you have or every milestone you get to, and you're like, okay, we're at this stage in life, so this, and this is going to happen.
This is what the What to Expect book said. This is how it has to happen.
Nope, throw it out the window. That's not what's going to happen. Like, everything is going to be different. Nothing is as it should be.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the culture of mothering, what would it be?
I think that we should stop mothering from our pedestals and hop down off of them, and stop telling people that you're doing it wrong just because they're doing it differently, because you're mom shaming. Like, social media has, like, really, I think, played a huge impact on women shaming women when it comes to their mothering styles. I mean, obviously, you don't want another mother doing something that's going to harm their child or hurt their child, but just because I let my kids eat Doritos and you feed your kid kale doesn't mean I'm a bad mom and you should tell me that my kids should be taken from me. Like, they're fine. That's my choice.
Okay. Like, they ate. There are kids who don't eat.
They're healthy. They're doctors. Every visit, they're fine. Whatever.
You can't win them all. And people need to understand that.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, your kids are fed. Your kids are not abused. Like,
they're loved.
We constantly have this discussion with a friend of mine where it's like, at some point, we have to be able to be given permission to be the mom for the child that was given to us.
I know.
Because I couldn't raise your kids, and you couldn't raise mine.
And, like, I don't want to, like...
No.
You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, like, I mean, I love kids, and I love everybody's kids, but, like, I raise my kids, and they are molded to my parenting. Your kids are not. You know what I'm saying? So, long-term, it's not going to work, because they're going to be like, well, you're not doing it like my mommy did. And I get it. I get it. We're all different. We all do it differently.
So true. For you specifically, what would you say has been the hardest part about being a mom?
I think trying to learn how to spread your love across all your children equally. That is hard. And it's not like, it's not something that can be taught. It's not something that you can read about. It's literally something you have to learn how to do. And it's hard because you got your first kid. It's the only one. You can give them 100% attention. Then you throw the second one in. Then you're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I got to try to give this one attention because he's used to it. But I also got to bond with the new baby. And then you got to try to figure out that 50-50 balance. Then you throw the third one in. Okay. Then you throw the fourth one in. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, but you know what? With each kid you learn, there's a piece of your heart for each of them, and it's the same size. Each of them get a piece, and it's already broken apart and measured for each of them the same amount.
There you go. If you could give one piece of mom advice, what would it be?
Stop listening to what other people are saying that you should be doing with your kids because you know what's best for your child. And accept the help when somebody offers it because I am bad about that. I complain all day long because nobody helps me and then somebody offers and I'm like, no. So I need to take my own advice. Accept the help when somebody offers it.
But don't we have that mentality, and I think that's kind of pushed on us, of that we have to be super mom. We can't just be mom. We have to be Pinterest perfect. We have to make, we can't just flip an ice cream cone upside down. I think I was talking about this with one of the other videos I've done. We can't just flip an ice cream cone upside down and call it a unicorn cake. Now we need to have, like, custom gorgeousness made. And your eyes say it all. There's that pressure.
Like the bleeding sprinkles out of the middle of it. And I'm like, listen, my first two, because they were a year apart, I threw them extravagant birthday parties for their first and second and third birthday. Like, I spent hundreds of dollars on decorations and foods and all this stuff. And I'm like, to throw it all away they don't care about it. Their friends don't care about it because their friends are only 1 and 2 and 3 years old. What am I doing this for? I'm doing it for their parents. And why? Because they're going to assume that I don't love my kid because I didn't handcraft all the decorations. Guess what? Now for birthday parties, they get a happy birthday banner, some streamers, cake, pizza, and a bounce house. That's it.
See, we don't even do parties anymore. We actually, for birthdays, they pick one friend, and we take that one friend to do something. So if that's a couple hours at Chuck E. Cheese, if that's a movie, and they get one fun thing with one friend. My daughter would tell me, Mom, I hate parties because I can never give everybody enough attention, and they're all getting on my nerves.
Right. And see, that's the thing. We thought about doing that too, but my kids really do enjoy birthday parties. And because we have so many kids, we can't do birthday parties at like locations because my kids account for majority of the guest count. So that's why we just will rent a bounce house, and then everybody can come, and the other kids can invite my other boys can invite their friends to come, so they have a friend to play with. They can invite whoever they want to come because it's at the house. Just come on, just take your shoes off and call it a day.
Party at your house.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Last thing, and I think you'll have the most fun with this. What do you love to do? Where do you blog? What's that Facebook page I've heard so much about that people need to go visit?
Okay. So I am Meagan from Momma's Tired. That's like my tagline, right? So yes, I run the parenting blog, Momma's Tired, on it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I am not really good with Twitter, so probably don't go there. But and then you can go to themommastired.com. I really need to put more time and effort into writing blogs, but the main entertainment is coming from Facebook, because that's where I have built the biggest audience. I make my videos, I make funny posts, and
if you guys have not seen a mama working on the outside of her Suburban in the middle of her neighborhood for all to see, then you have not lived yet. You need to go to her page.
So
no, but in all honesty, and I'm going to throw a link in the description to the Facebook page, but I'm going to throw a link specifically to that post that we both know of yours that just took off like crazy, so people can see why it is they have to visit you.
Yes. So, also, just an FYI to anybody that's watching, are we disconnecting?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So my stay-at-home mom depression post, which is the big one that went viral, which is why my page went viral. So before I knew what an actual correct website to blog from was, thanks to my dear friend Meagan here who helped me fix that, I just searched for my stay-at-home mom depression post because it's been reposted by so many people, like thousands of people. It's reached millions of people. And, most everybody copy and pasted it and reshared it from their profile, which irks my nerves because now I understand why, citing is so important, which I'm so sorry to anybody I plagiarized in high school and college. Not college, thank you. But, and I searched it the other day, and I seen it come up on so many different profiles, not tagged back to Momma's Tired, and if you reshare it from your profile, whatever. I can't stop you from doing that, but at least give credit to the person who made it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That is frustrating. And then I'm getting my feelings because I'm I wish I would have known better, but know better, you do better, right?
Here's the thing: everybody's gonna check out your stuff now. We're gonna flip that script, and from here going forward, your next viral will be totally credited to the right place. Because you're gonna go viral again. Homegirl's crazy.
Yeah,
but she's crazy for the right reasons. Let's just be clear. She's crazy in the same way that I am with the real talk. Let's be honest about mom life because we all take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
So for that, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, Meagan, for hopping on with me. And you have